Hello! I'm making a show of it since we're on video this time. You froze again. Come on. Erin, we just started and you were freezing.
I don't know what you people want from me.
Your computer immediately was like, shit. Too much pressure.
Oh, by the way, we're doing video.
We are, yes. So, welcome back to Pixel Perfect Podcast in the first video edition. If you're watching us on YouTube, if not, here's a good excuse to go check us out and see our lovely faces.
Yes. I'm gonna have to remember that we're being recorded.
Yeah, right. So we're not just like.
Yeah. So I just got to the tagline for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
That's what the episode's about, by the way, people. Which you probably figured out from the title, I'd hope, anyways.
Yeah, and we're probably going to talk about Hunger Games a lot, because it's the prequel to Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And, okay, so this is the tagline. Are you ready?
I don't know, I'm scared.
Ambition will fuel him, competition will drive him, but power has its price. All capital letters.
Wow, I hate it.
All capital letters.
Good God. Oh, okay. Before we jump into what I assume will be a literary bloodbath.
not dissimilar from the actual Hunger Games.
Yeah, pretty much. We wanted to touch on the PS5 reveal.
PS5, which is about to take off.
Yeah.
In a literal... It looks like
it's going to take off. It's something else. Like, I don't know. I have like mixed feelings about the look of it because like on one hand, I like things that have like a futuristic modern look to them, but on the other hand, I'm like, it like doesn't go with anything else anyone has in their homes.
Yeah, and I'm concerned that we're not gonna be able to put it on its side because we have a system that's very much set up to be avoided by a cat.
Yeah, right.
So I'm worried we can't stand it up. I mean, sit it down.
You were doing the right motions, but you just were saying the wrong thing.
So yeah, but tons of games announced.
Yeah, I saw they announced the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. I was not expecting that to be a launch title. That was kind of cool.
It looks so goddamn pretty.
It does. It does look very pretty. I didn't see very much of it, but I was like, oh, that's exciting. I mean, I
tweeted it on our thing.
The more this like stuff happens, like the closer I inch to like buying a PlayStation, because I've never owned a PlayStation console in my entire life. Briefly, while I had a stepdad, we had a PlayStation 2, and I'd watch them play Final Fantasy X, and that was about it. But I've never had a PlayStation. I never played PlayStation exclusives. But they keep coming out with goddamn good games.
Yeah, you might be more interested in, the PS5 is going to have a digital-only version, which I'm assuming is going to come with more storage, but I'm also assuming it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So you might be interested in that, so you don't have to actually store and buy a bunch of games.
Yeah, I prefer that anyways, with the minimal space we have, but also depends on the game.
Which is really interesting, a digital-only version.
I'm kind of leaning towards that. I think I literally have one... No, I don't think I have any actual physical copies of Switch games. Like, I haven't even bought Breath of the Wild in a physical copy yet, which is, like, blasphemous for who I am as a person.
I was worried about space, so I have a few. Hollow Knight, Animal Crossing. I mean, we have tons of Switch games that are physical, but in terms of ones that I actually play and own. But I downloaded Night of the Woods, Cuphead, and Stardew Valley.
Yeah, I keep having to download them, and I have to archive a game every time I want to play another one.
See, that's what I don't want.
It's annoying.
Thing. Yeah. I gotta keep it in the case anyway, and the case comes with nice little slots for the game.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Do you think you guys are gonna buy the PS5 as soon as it comes out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up pre-ordering it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So
I'll consider it.
My husband's very, very, very excited.
Oh, I can imagine.
So
I can imagine.
He's like, you have to have one as soon as it comes out, and I'm like, okay.
I have to be gross for a minute and get rid of my gum. I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Is that like a Post-it note?
Yes, I didn't have anything else. It's just a little bag, so there's not like wrappers. Oh man.
Did you hear about the cat one? The cat with the robots? The cat with the backpack?
No.
You have to look up Stray. It's just a
Stray,
cat with a
okay.
backpack walking around robots.
Fascinating. That sounds
And
right up my
everyone's
alley.
very, very excited. But I'm obviously most excited for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh my god, it's a cat with a backpack. That's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's in a futuristic city. This is just hitting all the marks for me.
There's also one, I do not remember the title, but it looks very much like a AAA ripoff of Night in the Woods.
Oh, really?
It's about anamorphic friends who are dealing with the early problems of early adulthood, and they play in a band, and
so we should boycott it.
It just seems. I have to learn more about it and like actually find out what the plot is, but it does seem like it was at least inspired by Night in the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
So
that would be
like literally, my husband pulled me into the room and was like, "It's Night in the Woods," and I was like, "Those fuckers!
How dare they?" Oh man. Well, that'll be exciting. Did they give a release date for PS5? No. It's just like coming soon.
Yeah, I think fall, but I'm not positive. Nobody hold me to that.
Yeah, who knows? Oh man. Well, that'll be exciting. I feel like I said that already. Did I say that already?
It's Wednesday night. We worked. We're tired.
It's been a day. And now we're going to talk about... So, I feel like to sum up how well reading this book went, neither of us even finished it.
I texted Paige and I was like, I don't wanna.
I reading that book this whole time, like, first off, I reread Hunger Games before I picked up this new book because my assumption was it was going to be a similar length and a relatively quick read, similar to her other books. And then I got thrown into a mud pit that I had to trudge through very slowly.
Yeah, it's 440-ish pages.
Yeah. And I think if you get the hard copy version, I think it's like over 500.
Yeah, which is just insane. And I'm going to say something I've never said, but I will defend it.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, Hunger Games is written in first person, which, if you know anything about me, I don't like first person.
First person, present tense.
I will say that it gets better as she goes along. Mm-hmm. And I think that her third person is actually much clumsier. Like, she's never used it before and doesn't know how.
Oh my god, that is so accurate. I was like, the whole time was just bad.
I think she basically mastered first person, then she's like, I'm gonna write in third, and then she doesn't know how.
No, yeah, it was like, I think I saw reviews along those same lines. Well, they were kind of wrong, kind of right, because some of them were like, I forgot how good of a writer she is, so reading this book just made me sad, and I was like, she was an okay writer at the beginning. I don't really know we lost that much in that regard, but...
She gets better. She does get better. Mockingjay is definitely her best written book.
This is not.
No, it's the writing is clunky, and like she doesn't quite...
It's painful.
know what to do with words.
It's so slow. I never want to hear someone describe what the meal was ever again. Like, can we stop writing out full-fledged details about whatever the hell they're eating? I'm over it.
It makes sense in the Hunger Games because they've never eaten it before, and it was like to describe the meals,
right?
But I just
noticed that was a theme between the two. Like, when in Hunger Games, it made sense to me both at the beginning and kind of like when they're thrust into the Capitol. But it did get a little tedious to me.
Hunger Games.
What?
Because it's called the Hunger Games.
Yeah, right. But like it got a little tedious. Like, I feel like I'm like towards the end of Hunger Games, and she's still going out of her way to describe every little component of a meal that they're eating, and I'm like, just say you went and got dinner. Like, I'm over this food description thing. Good God. I should give a synopsis best I can of this book I didn't finish.
I'm gonna leave it to you.
Oh God.
I think I read about half.
Yeah, I got decently through, and then I read like the last 2 chapters to get an idea of how it ended. But from what I gathered from Goodreads, people, like, when she announced the book was coming out, she didn't get very many details about what it was about. And then I saw a lot of reviews when they found out it was about President Snow's youth that they were outraged. They were like, I don't want this. Why do we need to read a book about him?
I didn't either.
I
like, especially because like this book seems to make us want to sympathize.
Yeah.
And like sympathize with his feelings towards his tribute, and like sympathize with. Sorry, I gotta shut that off. Sympathize with his feelings towards tribute, and sympathize with woe is me. And I'm like, he did so many horrific things.
Yeah.
That I do not care. Like, if this was a prequel to The Hunger Games because it came out before the I might be more invested. But since we read The Hunger Games, where so much horrific stuff happens, you're kind of just like, fuck him.
Not even that. I didn't even feel sympathy from him. I didn't think she did a good job of trying to garner sympathy for him. I was just like, he is a whiny brat throughout this whole thing and sucks to everybody.
But like, I think that's what she was trying to do, though, was humanize him.
Yeah.
I think that was the goal. I think she just didn't do it well.
It just seemed unnecessary. It's like, and the plot is so meandering and all over the place. So like, it's about Snow, and I'm gonna not say his first name because I'm gonna mispronounce it. My brain butchered it every time I read it. But it's about him as an 18-year-old, and they're like, it's the 10th Hunger Games, and him and a bunch of classmates are gonna be mentors to tributes, and he ends up being the mentor of a District 12 female, who, by the way, is literally the definition of a manic pixie dream girl. Oh my god, infuriating character. And somehow, through a convoluted romance, they seem to fall in love with each other, even though I don't buy any of it. And she ends up being the winner of the games, and then halfway through the book, because he helped her cheat, it just switches over to him being like a peacekeeper in District 12 as a punishment. It's almost like two different books crammed into one.
Yeah, if you were gonna write a book about Snow, I would have much rather had a book like a gray version of like what he was doing in the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have rather seen like what was happening to PETA and what his thinking was, and like what was happening during the actual series.
Yeah.
Than I would have with this.
Right.
I don't know what this is.
The whole time I kept being like, why? Why do we need this? And I saw this other review on Goodreads that was like, it's like when an author who is too big and too influential comes to you with a really bad book, but you're all too scared in your publishing company to tell her no. And I'm like, this is exactly what happened here. Like, no one was like, this is probably a bad book.
Or edited her writing. I get it with the Hunger Games. I personally find the Hunger Games to be really good, compelling, solid series.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yes, definitely story-wise.
Yeah.
And so I kind of understand them being willing to not edit her writing as much.
Yeah.
Maybe you would, but yeah.
Bad. Oh my god. It was a painful read. And I remember when I saw the page count after I reread Hunger Games, I was like, oh shit, I didn't give myself enough time to read this. And I was like, I'll barrel through it. I've got like a night and a half. I've done it before. And then I'm just like getting through it. And I'm like, am I making any progress while I'm reading this? This is so painful.
Well, I think it just felt like sludge too.
It did.
Because like 400 pages can still go fast, but if you're writing sludge, it's not going to go fast.
Right. I mean, my Hunger Games paperback is 370 pages, and I feel like I flew through that when I was rereading it.
And part of that is because what's happening in the Hunger Games is so interesting that you're willing to keep going and keep flying.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in anything that was happening.
No. And the pacing was so odd because I feel like she droned on forever about things that didn't matter, but then like major critical things that were interesting or fast paced, it would be like a page and then they'd be over it. I'm like, why? Can we go back to that?
No. So you might know this because you read further than I did, but like, what the hell happens between this book and Hunger Games that Tigress is like, yeah, I'm going to keep you in the basement. It's all going to be fine and great. And I'm going to help you kill Snow. Like,
wait, that's... Do you remember that? No, I totally forgot that she was even in the later books.
I looked up just to make sure. It's the same. The person who hides them in the basement and Mockingjay and protects them is the same person who's Snow's cousin. I looked it up and made sure.
Okay.
That's the story
I think I would have rather... Yes, definitely would have rather had a book about her. That would have been way better.
And, like, he must have, like, kicked her out, basically, right? And been like, yeah, I know that you helped raise me and feed me and done all this stuff for me, but, fuck you.
No.
And then she's like, well, fuck you, too. And his
family has a very happy ending at the end. I'm not even joking. Like, because Sejanus ends up dying, his family like basically takes them in as their own, and like they just inherit the Plinth fortune, and then so Grandmam and Tigress and Snow all get to live in their apartment again, and like they're all blissfully together at the like. There's no implication about why she would have turned on him after all that time. Literally nothing to indicate that their relationship was bad by the end of the book. Like, everything seemed very happy-go-lucky. Also, the last line of the book is Snow lands on top, and I really hate it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't think it's a very good tagline.
No, it was...
But yeah, now it's making me want to look up again that it's the same person, but like I know it's the same person.
I had an inkling because of the whole fashion component, because I remember that person in the books was like a major fashion designer within the capital, right? Like, didn't they go hide in like the basement? Yeah.
She was in the game. She was Cinna.
Yeah.
So, and then what happened is she basically became too cat-like. Like, she modified herself too much that she basically got out of the games.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and then I don't remember the apartment her living in being very, like, he must have completely abandoned her, like, not even giving her money.
At some point, I think so. But there's like, they leave you with no breadcrumbs of what could have possibly led their relationship to be like that. It's the cat being naughty.
My cat is losing her damn mind.
Oh my god.
Also, if you're seeing me on video, I constantly readjust because I'm short, and so I have to boost myself up, and then I have to switch legs to boost myself up again.
It's true, so she is very short.
For the record. That's why you see me moving around so much. I am 4'11", bitches.
But
anyway,
full of personality. No. Oh my god. I feel like we really should talk about Lucy Gray, because I've never been so frustrated with a character or a romantic path.
And I don't understand it because Hunger Games was good.
Right?
Like, and I read I didn't read a thing. I watched a YouTube video by this person I follow who called Just Right. I believe it's Just Right. I should know this offhand because I watch all of his videos. But he was basically talking about how it's so much harder to write a rebellion story that's based on collective action rather than the special one.
Mm-hmm.
And Katniss isn't really. She's essential, but for spurring collective action.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she can't single-handedly end the war. She has to convince other people that they have to end the war.
That's what makes those books so unique, is because I feel like a lot of rebellion stories don't focus on that component of propaganda and of media action to encourage rebellion. Yeah. So that's what it makes her interesting. It's just like she's a symbolic thing to help. She's not like magically saving everyone.
Right. And then not only that, is she becomes a symbol, and there's the depth behind it of what it's like to be a symbol and how difficult it is and what's happening and what she has to give up and what she gets. And it's like, you did it so well. How did you give us this bullshit?
Yeah.
Like, you did so well.
Right?
How do you go from, like, this seems like a de-evolution to me, which is very strange.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It just was so bad. I couldn't, like, I'm so mad I spent $18 on this.
You can return it if it's within 7 days.
Oh. I just might. Oh man. Yeah, she frustrated me so much. Like, I feel like the second she came on stage during the reaping and the whole musical performance happened, I immediately was like, I don't like this. Yeah.
I don't understand her.
Yeah, she's just was
and
like,
I didn't understand her appeal to everybody else.
No.
And I think part of that is because you can't translate music to print.
Yeah, that's extremely difficult. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's clearly like her whole significance is like leading up to the creation of the Hanging Tree song. Like, she's the one who wrote it due to events that happened in the second half. So like, I feel like she like took all these little history points she had that she had made in Hunger Games and was like, I'm gonna try to find a way to weave them all together in a story that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's like Star Wars in the sense of like, I'm going to clarify a plot hole that nobody thought was a plot hole.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, I was going to think Kingdom Hearts too, just kind of like the same thing where they're just like filling up plot holes by writing more things, and you're just like, stop.
Oh man.
But okay, so I'm gonna ask the question of the Hunger Games, which
Okay.
actually totally misses the point of the Hunger Games,
Okay.
which is Gale or Peeta, or neither.
Oh, I have actually. So when I first read these books, I was very much Team Gale because I was a teenager who was into broody assholes.
You reread it and realize that he's a broody asshole. And
yeah. Oh, this time I love Peeta. I'm so Team Peeta now.
Right?
It's not even funny.
Right?
I was like, he's charming, he's sweet, he's kind. I'm like, you just want to shake Katniss and be like, get it together.
I just fuck yeah. It gets worse as you read further and remember how fucking merciless he is.
Oh yeah, and like all the shit he does in book 3, it's like, yeah, no. I'm firmly Team Peeta.
So glad she ends up with Peeta too, and like for the perfect reason, which is basically just like Kale's too explosive and fiery, and I have enough fire, and I'm just gonna go with the dandelion. So it's like the dandelion in the meadow, and I'm just like, that's shit. That's the shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. They just have like so much more between them, and even like back when I read it the first time, I don't know why, but I was like, oh, there's more chemistry between her and Gale. But this time reading it, I'm like, ew, they're nothing. It's
there's more history for sure, but like,
yeah, no, there was no spark between them at all.
No, I hate it. I hate them, and I'm so glad she ended up with Peeta.
Yeah, same.
I will fight anyone who says otherwise. And if you like Gale over Peeta, you probably like Ross over Joey. Okay?
Yeah, so get out.
We don't fuck with people who like Ross over Joey.
Absolutely not. Oh my god. Sarah's gonna be so happy because she was my cousin. She was always a Team Peeta fan, so we used to argue about it. And then on top of that, when the movies came out, she had a huge celebrity crush on Josh Hutcherson, so she was just over the moon.
I thought Josh Hutcherson was bad casting.
I didn't like him either. I was not personally a fan.
Liam Hemsworth is great casting.
I also agree with that. How do you feel about Jennifer Lawrence, though? I feel like I have mixed feelings about it.
She doesn't carry enough of Katniss's good attributes.
Yeah, like she leans too heavily into like the emotionlessness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like when I watched the movie, because I watched a little bit of the movie for this, and I don't buy anything between her and Josh Hutcherson.
No.
And part of that is because she's so standoffish, which is partly the way she's written.
Mm-hmm.
But she's so aggressively emotionless and standoffish that you're kind of just like,
Yeah, but I think that's something they took out of the movies that was in the books. Was I feel like she was quicker to apologize or be kind after being so standoffish to him, which you don't see in the movies. It's just like her being like,
and she doesn't play the love thing very well.
No,
which is interesting because Jennifer Lawrence can act better than this movie's let her act.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Mitch.
Oh, perfect.
Also great casting.
Perfect. I liked Evie. Yeah. Senna was also great.
Senna was also good.
He was really good. Oh, and Caesar Flickerman. Basically anyone except for the main character.
I really love the Hunger Games. What's your favorite?
I don't know. I want to reread Catching Fire and Mockingjay now because like I did enjoy the story. It was a little harder rereading Hunger Games now that I know more about writing and I could see a lot more flaws than I could when I was a teenager. So I was kind of like, eh. But the story is good. So it's like something keeps you there.
The story carries it. It really does. And I think she's good at. It's very difficult to write a revolution in a way that's interesting and doesn't fall into the chosen one trope. And she's just did it really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Versus this prequel is just a hot flaming pile of garbage that like I feel like I saw something like one of my favorite writers was talking about like what goes into writing and how part of it is like deciding why you are writing it, and I just want to know why did she write it?
I'm wondering if some of it was because she's published books. She published books after the Hunger Games.
She has? I only saw the stuff she did before the Hunger Games, that like middle grade series that she did.
Yeah, she did a middle grade series she published one afterwards. Because Hunger Games came out 2008. She's got one from 2016.
Oh, really?
So she's written stuff since.
Huh, I haven't heard crap about it. Maybe that's why she wrote it, because she was like, everyone forgot about me. Here's a Hunger Games novel.
I was just wondering. I'm just like, I mean, maybe it was the story she felt compelled to tell, but I don't understand. I don't understand why Snow.
And
there are some more people I'm interested in.
Even beyond that, like, I feel like his path to being a villain thing, like, I feel like he didn't learn any lessons. Nothing truly tragic happened to him in this book. Like, there was definitely some unfortunate, like, murder happening and whatnot. But, like, by the time you get to the end of it and he's, like, describing to Dr. Gall why the Hunger Games are needed and his opinions, or just, like, his little tidbits of his personal feelings throughout about, like, how he feels about district people, I'm like, he's not, like, over. I'm not seeing, like, a switch. Like, I'm not seeing him go from, like, having hope, having, like, maybe leaning towards good, but then something really encouraging him to be bad.
Or a conniver from the very beginning.
Right, yeah.
So like there's not enough gradual or drastic change to understand why he is the way he is in the Hunger Games, but there also isn't that spring from the beginning of just like, I am always going to work to put my family on top, and I'm always going to work to put myself on top. Especially because, like, he's so connected to Tigress, so I just don't understand how that switch happens.
Yeah, and I don't get it.
If she set out to make a prequel to help explain Snow to us and how he thinks and why he became what he is, she failed.
Yeah, she didn't do that at all.
Primary directive, and I think she failed.
I feel like more confused than I was before.
Yeah, I don't think it clarified anything. And
No.
Snow is really, really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just...
like, at the very end, he does something that is so out of character because of the way she's established the whole book, but he goes to see Dean Highbottom again and drops off a vial of, like, that drug he constantly takes that's poisoned. So he just, like, decides to kill Dean Highbottom, and you're just like, okay, so you're just straight batshit crazy now.
Well, there's this thing from the Hunger Games where they talk about how he convinces people to take poison by taking a little bit from himself, and that's why he smells. He's like masking.
Oh, because that's why he's like ill and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why he's like coughing up blood and everything, is because he's been imbuing poison slowly over years in order to kill out people. And I'm like, I don't see that person in this book.
Not at all. The only thing that really alludes to, like, that touches on the poison topic is him encouraging Lucy Gray to use it in the arena, and then that very, very end scene. It's literally the last thing you see him doing is poisoning. I don't know, because Dean Highbottom sucks, I guess. I don't know. They do not give you good enough reason for him to have done that, and you're just like, okay, I guess he's evil now. Wow. It's so odd and out of place. And it's also, like, right in the middle of this conversation, too, that you learn that Snow's father is the reason the Hunger Games happened, because Dean Highbottom came up with the whole idea, but during, like, a drunken rage, and Snow's father kept encouraging him to get more and more drunk, and was like, oh yeah, this is just talk, whatever, but then, like, took all of Dean Highbottom's ideas and brought them to Dr. Gall and made the Hunger Games happen. So this whole time, that's why Dean Highbottom hates the Snow family, is because he didn't want to actually see the Hunger Games come to occur. He was just, like, talking in a drunken stupor.
So weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't understand how she can go from being so clever to not being clever. Because the Hunger Games are they're really clever.
Yeah, they really are. I can wholeheartedly agree with that. They take interesting looks at rebellion and warfare and have interesting twists. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're quite nuanced for what they are. And in terms of like one of the things I love is, like, kind of how the capital people are both, like, they're not evil, but there's definitely something wrong there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they have, like, the book manages to humanize them while at the same time establishing this is wrong behavior, but this is why it's wrong. This is this is why it's bad, and this is why they are the way they are, and you can still have empathy for them, but not like abide by anything they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think that's like the one thing that might have come across in this novel, I think, because I did kind of feel empathy for some of the citizens as a whole, because it's like, oh, this government is bad for the districts and its own people based on like what's going on, but it's everything
And I
else
guess
just fell
the
flat.
capital kind of went through hell too in the
Mhm.
war, like had its own losses and everything in the war,
Right.
but they reacted to it just by crushing
Yeah.
their districts.
By going, yeah, bad times. I actually also don't like. I feel like she crammed way too many characters into this book. Like, I feel like she gave you a cast of characters to like think about and get to know in the first half, and then like it gets shipped off to District 12, and there's like a whole new cast of characters to think about. And I'm like, why? There's
It
too
goes back to what
many.
you were saying about 2 books, that it feels like 2
It
books.
did, but then again, it also feels like the book has too much in it because it's just like it's just sludge. So it's like it doesn't feel like there's enough.
It's because the wrong things are in it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's emphasizing the wrong things. So you're kind of just like, I don't understand what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing a book can do.
Absolutely.
Say, I don't understand what I'm doing here.
I felt like it had no clear trajectory. Like, you finish it or don't finish it, and you're like, why did I just do that to myself?
And I feel like the Hunger Games does a really good job of making you like and dislike certain things about pretty much every character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Katniss is a really complicated character where every once in a while you want to just shake her and go, I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Do these things. Do your thing.
Right. Which is kind of like a nice reminder that, like, she's a teenager, so, like, she's clearly gonna make dumb decisions.
I feel like there's kind of that with everyone except for maybe PETA. There's always kind of that nuance there. I think PETA is meant to be the ideal, which is why he gets so screwed in the 3rd book.
Yeah.
It's because he's meant to be like,
yeah.
Held thing. If that makes sense.
I think
there
so.
are better words for that. Yes, hello.
Cat appearance?
Yeah, my cat doesn't like it when I talk to my computer.
Oh my god, neither does Pixel. If I do like a phone video chat, she gets really pissed and will get up in my lap and in my face and like start yelling at me. I'm like, what is your problem?
Yeah, I don't know if she gets confused or what, but like whenever I talk to my computer, she's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Are you going crazy? Do I need to protect you?
It's so true. Oh my goodness. God, I really hope. I saw some people saying in the reviews on Goodreads that they think this book will definitely get a sequel, and I'm like, what would it even be about? This book was about nothing. Like, you can't write another sequel about even more nothing.
Again, I'd read like E.L. James, like Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd read a Cornelia Snow Hunger Games edition. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Assuming it's written better.
Yeah, true.
But I'd read that.
Yeah. I think that would be fascinating.
She's really good at coming up with absolutely horrendous things.
That is very true.
Like, in the 2nd book, there's this thing where capital people throw up in order to keep eating.
Oh, I remember that. I feel like that was, I think that was a French tradition in the monarchy a long time ago. Like, I think they would just gorge and feast, and then they'd throw up and then gorge and feast more.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Greek. I don't know. A long time ago, people did that.
Somebody somewhere did the thing.
It happened.
But I think, and then like the lizards, like the mutts.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the 1st book with the mutts that are the dogs that have the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the movies lose a lot of like the true horror of the books because you don't get like the characters recognizing how personalized these creatures are and like how truly terrifying they are.
I feel like that just I don't like the movies.
No.
I own most of them, but I do not like them.
I didn't particularly enjoy them either. Yeah.
I think part of it's the writing. I just don't, and I read this is showing my Tumblr-ness, but I read a Tumblr a long time ago that was talking about how the movies did exactly what they weren't supposed to do, which is took a story about rebellion and revolution and turned it into a story about a girl and a love triangle.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely leaned into that.
So, which is the least interesting part of
Yeah,
that
for sure.
series. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very invested in that part of the series. Like, I
Mhm.
read it and I'm like, if you don't pick PETA, I'm going to reach in that book and slap you.
I will find Suzanne Collins and beat her.
I wish, I wish, this is just the romance writer in me, but I wish that there was way more active romance between PETA and Katniss at the end. Of course, there wasn't really time for that. By the time that Mockingjay ended, there was so many things to happen, but like, they get like 2 paragraphs of resolution when it comes to their romance. And I'm
Yeah,
kind of just like, I waited 3 fucking books for this. Why did you not give me more than 2 paragraphs?
right. I think I'm starting to wonder if romance is a weakness for hers and that's why she just steered away from putting extra bits of it in her original trilogy because it was horrible in this book. So I feel like she's not great with the romance aspect of writing.
Or maybe she's good at the build up but not the actual execution.
Yeah.
Because like her kissing scenes aren't amazing.
No,
They're
and
fine. They're fine.
yeah.
But
It's not even the physicality of it, but I feel like I remember when I was rereading it, I was like, I feel like Katniss has like no reaction to the kissing. I'm like, wouldn't this make you feel more things? Like make you think more things about like, oh my god, do I have feelings for this guy? I know you're also
I
in the
mean,
middle of an arena, but
she does have that one kiss in the arena that makes her feel like she talked about it like hunger, like
yeah.
a feeling. And then it happens again in book 2 where they're in the arena and it comes back and they end up kissing for a long time.
Hmm.
So, but like she does seem very much to not care about physicality,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's just reads weird when you're putting so much emphasis on a romance.
Yeah. Which is especially it happened a lot in this book because this was like extra romance emphasis because it was like Snow and Lucy Gray were like the core component of the whole book. So when you're putting more romance in it, I feel like you should make it more romantic.
Which doesn't necessarily translate to more physical, but like
Right.
still more romantic would be nice.
Absolutely. Like it just it fell very flat and it felt like there was like zero chemistry between them. I understood his end of it more because I think he was like more of like an infatuation with this weird woman, but like Lucy Gray just like falling for him made no sense to me. I'm like, wouldn't
She
she
actually
despise him?
falls for him.
Oh yeah, they're like together.
Gross.
Yeah, like that whole arc with him in the I'm calling it an arc now because this book is weird. But like when he's at District 12 as a peacekeeper, they're like basically they have a secret relationship and the book almost ends with them running away together and they like get past the District 12 boundaries and they're like off in the woods. But by this point, and this will be a little foggy because this is like the last 100 pages I didn't read, but because he had killed the mayor's daughter and Sejanus, and the weapon he did it with like disappeared, and then he finds it in a cabin that they've just run away together. And then their relationship ends in this really weird way where she's like, "I'm gonna go grab us food," but like she disappears, and he like starts putting the pieces together that she figured out who he murdered, and that she's running away from him, and so he like thinks he sees her and he gets all spooked and decides to shoot at her. So like her whole ending is like you're not sure she's alive or dead by the time the book ends because he like goes after her because he's afraid she's gonna go betray him. Like he just like all his feelings just turn on a dime out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then he doesn't see her and ends up making his way back to the district and then goes back to the capital, and it turns out the peacekeeper thing was just supposed to be like a summer thing for him to do to learn his lesson, and now Dr. Gall wants him as like an apprentice, and it's just like it's like a little
Wow.
too neatly wrapped up while also ignoring whatever the hell happened to Lucy Gray.
I don't think the book really cares about her.
It really doesn't.
Which is interesting. I don't know what the book does care about.
Exactly. Like nothing. It exists to like give an origin story to a song. That's
I mean,
all the only takeaway.
The Ballad of Songs and Snakes.
What was that?
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It was bad. So, my general thoughts are, we read it, so you don't have to. Please don't buy this.
But definitely read The Hunger Games if somehow you haven't in the last decade.
True.
So.
Definitely.
Do we have... I feel like this has been a really rambly episode where we're just, like, going off on tangents here and there, but I feel like maybe every episode is very...
That might just be our theme. I think that's just our thing.
This is what we do.
Yep.
Last of Us 2 is next.
Yes, it is. The episode Erin has been planning since this podcast was conceptualized.
It is definitely going to have spoilers.
Oh, hell yeah.
So be prepared for that.
Mm.
Don't listen to it until you've actually played through it if you're going to play the whole 25 to 30 hours.
They're only 25 to 30 hour games?
Depending on how much you're looking around.
Okay.
If you're looking around more or you're in grounded mode and you just keep dying over and over again, it's going to take you more time.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just going to watch a shit ton of videos. Because again, I don't have a PlayStation.
I wonder if I can stream it for you. It's a question for another day.
Potentially.
But we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
I've read early reviews of these games, and I'm
Oh no.
I've read early reviews, and I have a feeling that it's not going to live up to its predecessor.
It's hard
in
to
terms
do
of
that.
actual story content.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in terms of visuals and gameplay and stuff, but
yep.
Yeah. That's my sense of things at this moment. But obviously withholding real judgment until it comes out on Friday.
Yep.
Which is in 2 days.
Wow.
My husband's freaking out. He's been counting it down in his head aggressively for maybe 2 years.
Oh my god.
He was distraught when they changed the date. He was like, what the fuck is this shit? There's sort of a pandemic going on. Calm down.
Right? Oh man. Any closing thoughts on this garbage pile?
Team PETA. That's my closing thought.
Team PETA. What a closing statement. Oh my gosh. All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.